And joining us now is California Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Congresswoman, thanks so much for your time. Now, your colleagues Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are both calling for Vice President Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove the president. If that does not happen, they have threatened impeachment. Is impeaching the president in just 13 days a realistic option?
Well, let me just say that not only the members of Congress and Leader Pelosi are just absolutely outraged and horrified by the attack on these from these mobs yesterday. And yes, they're going to try everything that they possibly can to make him accountable. And so, yes, attempting to try to invoke the 25th Amendment is something that should be tried. The impeachment that is being talked about, if there are ways by which to get the impeachment resolution up on the floor without having to go back through committees and do the kind of organizing that was done when it was tried, then, perhaps that can be done. I support whatever's attempted to hold this president accountable. Yes, it's going to be difficult with such a short time frame, but I think the American people want to see a response. They want to know that we are as outraged as they are and that we're attempting to make him accountable.
And you've said that you had an hour-long conversation with the Capitol Chief of Police 4 days ago where he assured you that they were ready. What happened?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This conversation that I had with him was a result of my bringing up the issue in the Democratic caucus meeting, where I thought, we needed to know more about what the security plan was. And so Zoe Lofgren, who is the chair of our administrative committee, had him call me. And this is when I had the hour-long conversation with him. The first thing I said to him is, you have to make sure that they do not occupy the plaza. And he said, don't worry about that. We've got that covered. They certainly will not. I raised about, 9 or 10 other questions with him, including, whether or not he was going to secure the buildings and perhaps have police on top of the buildings, because oftentimes that's where snipers go and attempt to assassinate or to target individuals. He said, well, they can't get up on top of the building. They would have to go through the building in order to get on top. But then, of course, we saw that they scaled the outside and they broke the windows and knocked over the doors and got into the building and was in the chambers of the House and the Senate statutory a room that we have with all the statues in it, a statutory hall, we call it. And so, yes, we had this conversation. It was lengthy. I questioned him about not only the plaza and, securing the buildings, but also questioned him about whether or not he knew what violent or terrorist organizations may be coming. I told him, and he should have known, that the Proud Boys were already in town, and whether or not he knew what other organizations would be in, and would they attempt to keep out some of these domestic terrorist organizations, such as what we saw in South Carolina, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he did not have the names of the groups. He said they have a process by which they do permitting, and they do not have to identify as a group. An individual can come in and fill out the paperwork and get assigned to an acceptable location for protesting. If they don't ask for a location, they will choose one for them. I questioned him about whether or not they would block off the streets in front of the Cannon Building and the Longworth Building. He told me no, they were not going to do that. That the Second Amendment rights had to be First Amendment rights. Had to be protected. I asked him about guns and whether or not some of these individuals who come from gun carry states could possibly be bringing guns in to this protest. He said, well, if we see a gun, if they display a gun, we will arrest them. I was a little bit uneasy about that answer. I got no indication that any surveillance or intelligence was being done. But he did say and assure me that they had it under control to the point where even if there were opposing organizations, the police would be stationed on the grassy area in ways that they could prevent any confrontations, on and on and on. He was a police chief, and he said, we got it under control.
And lastly, Congresswoman, I read something yesterday, and it really struck me and has stayed with me, written by a black person who said, we are not asking you to shoot them like you shoot us. We are asking you to not shoot us like you don't shoot them. You've certainly been in Congress 30 years, seen a lot. What are your thoughts on the hypocrisy and double standard that so many are talking about in our society as far as if the rioters yesterday had been black, how the outcome most likely would have been much different?
Well, I tweeted something similar to that, and I basically tweeted, if this had been Black Lives Matter, acting in the way that the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys and the white supremacists had stormed our Capitol, what do you think would have happened? Or do you think, in essence, they would have gotten away with it? And I got the kind of responses where, everyone was saying, of course, we know, they said it in so many ways. Blood would be all over the place. They would be killed. They would be shot. Everybody believes and knows that blacks are treated differently, even when they're peacefully protesting. And so we also know that whites feel more comfortable in their protests that they will not be shot and killed. That's why they were so brazen going into our chambers. And the one that went into Nancy Pelosi's office and sat in the chair, on and on and on, they don't think for 1 minute that they're going to be killed in the way that we know that blacks possibly could be.
Representative Maxine Waters, we thank you so much for your time. Glad you're safe.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.